Hi, today we are going to talk to you about the little Tar River 870 mini round baler and give you a little bit of the prep in the setup of that baler so you can get it hooked to your tractor and you can take it out in the field and you can actually make the little hay bales that we can make with the baler when you get there. This little baler is a 3-point baler that you can run on as small a tractor as about a 23-24 horsepower tractor. This is hooked on a Branson 2510, which is a 24 horsepower tractor, hydrostat transmission, 540 PTO, category 1 3-point. The 3-point will actually lift the baler completely off the ground when you get to the ends. It's not going to turn on the wheels or anything that way. It is going to be actually hooked to the tractor. And then this baler is going to be all PTO driven. The twine is going to be driven by the actual twine itself. It's a mechanical driven twine system instead of on a bigger round baler instead of an electric system. With this baler, what you're going to run into, a few little things right off the bat. 3-point hookup. Once you get your 3-point hooked on the tractor, all these little tractors are going to have some little sway bars down here that you're going to have to get set so that the drive line is running right down the center of the baler. You don't want this off one side or off of the other. You want to have that running right down the center. Go ahead and get your top link hooked, and your top link will have to be a little bit of variation on that off of how high you want the pickup to be off of the ground. There is an adjustment in here, but you can actually roll the pitch of the baler with your top link to get that set on the tires, and on your 3-point to get the actual pickup height where you specifically want it. On this little baler, we're going to go through a few things on it. What did I do? There we go. The pickup is right here on the side. You can pull this up and down, and that's your actual pickup height on the baler that you can set up in the front. There is a little set chain out here that you can, if you don't want it to go as low, you can pull that chain up and latch it so that the pickup will only go down so far. This little baler will have fixed tires. They are just on a small little axle, which does have a bolt through it. So if you want them tires to be running a little bit wider than the pickup, you can slide them tires in and out depending on where you want to run them for the field that you're in. This side of the baler only has a couple things that you got to kind of keep in mind or keep an eye on. There is a little shear bolt right down here on this shaft. The baler, when you buy it new, will come with extras. But you've got a driven shaft inside, and then the shear bolt is what connects the shaft to this chain. If you break this shear bolt, the only thing you're going to have turning is this inner shaft, but none of this chain mechanism will be turning if you break that bolt. That is there, if you suck a fence post up inside there or a big wad of hay, instead of damaging the baler, it's made to break the little shear bolt. As far as that, on this side of the baler, there's not a whole lot else in here other than that little shear bolt, and then like I said, you got a couple chains in there that you'll be able to lube up and get ready to go. This baler uses it's just a 2-way cylinder, but just one cylinder that opens and closes the rear gate. That is powered from the other side. There's a small oil pump that's driven by the chains, and it's turning all the time. Whenever you are ready to dump the bale, there's going to be a small buzzer that goes off, and there's a rope going to your tractor. When you pull that rope, you're going to actually open the valve to open the gate, and then when you just let off the gate, it's going to come down. There is a flow control valve right on top of that if that valve is turned all the way in clockwise, it won't move, and as you start opening it up, it'll get faster and faster and faster. It does also have a lockout valve on it that if you wanted to raise it all the way up and then lock it out, if you had to get in there, you can actually shut the fluid off so it cannot close on you while it's in there. When you come around to this side, I did forget to say away from the baler that when you close the back gate, it won't hit the bale that's already sitting there that you just made. On this side of the baler, you've got several different things going on here. You do have this little pump. This is going to be for your rear gate. Like I said, this is chain driven. There is no dipstick underneath this. The fluid level is usually about halfway up that reservoir. And then that, just like I said, when you pull this little rope on the side, that pulls the valve open to activate the cylinder. You also have a density control on this side of the baler, which is this long skinny rod that runs up the side, and it's got these little notches on this rod. We have it set now to make the densest baler this bale will make. This is a solid chain or a fixed chambered baler, so it doesn't actually float with the bale. It fills the chamber and then just starts compacting it once the hay gets in there. So you can actually put how much force you want on there. If you were to move this rod up to the top, it is not going to pack the bale near as tight, and it's going to tell you that the bale is full. If you put this rod down to the bottom where we have it now, it will be as heavy a bale as this baler can make. You also have this is your little rod on the side that tells you your bale size. You'll see that the chamber will actually fill with hay, and then as the bale starts to form and get more solid, more dense bale, that rod will start rising to the top until your little buzzer goes off. When your buzzer goes off, it actually trips your tie arm. So when that buzzer goes off, the tie arm falls down and it starts tying, and the string going through the baler is what actually powers the tie arm. So as soon as you drop twine in there, it's going to start pulling twine, which then is going to run it all the way across and back. It will self-cut itself off. Once you see the twine stop going through there, you're ready to open your back gate and kick it out. There is a little compartment up here on the front of this baler that has your baling twine in it. And when you pull it out of this one, I was going to show real quick how you kind of thread that. That twine is going to come directly out of your twine box right over here underneath this tensioning spring. You route it in between that tensioning spring and the frame over this little pulley. And then you got this little drive gear or little drive pulley that if you want more twine on your bale, you wrap it around this upper groove. If you want the least amount of twine, you wrap it around the smaller groove, and then in the middle, somewhere in the middle. So like right now, we got it to put a lot of twine on it. You would wrap it around that outer groove, bring it down, run it around your pulley. It's gonna shoot into the chamber, and then there's another pulley down there, which it goes around, comes up through this pulley and out through another tensioner. Once you get it through that tensioner, it's just gonna hang out there like that. And then once you start making a bale, that arm is gonna drop down in the chamber and start pulling string through it. Other than that, that is gonna be your basic setup of the baler, with the exception of this little power cable that's on it. This cable does unhook from the tractor, so if you wanna leave it hooked to your tractor all the time, you can. This will stay there. This is just nothing more than a positive and a negative. On this little tractor, it's long enough. We got it ran all the way to the front. We got it hooked to the positive and negative of the battery, and then we just got it kind of running down the side of the tractor. More than likely, you're not going to want to do what we did. You'd want to do it a little bit cleaner than that and run it up under the frame and zip tie it on so it looks nice and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the time. But other than that, once you're connected there, you should be all hooked up and ready to make bales.
Cut the PTO.
Oh, also on this baler, these PTO shafts are going to come in a generic universal drive line. Depending on the tractor you have, that drive line is going to need to be cut at different lengths. What you're looking at on there when you get done is you're looking to have 6 inches of overlap in your drive line so that they're slid together 6 inches when they're hooked to the tractor. How you would usually accomplish that is have your drive line slid onto the baler, and then have your drive line slid onto the tractor, but don't have them slid together. Just have them sitting alongside of each other. And then we usually measure in between this little flange on this guard and this little flange. Find a center line, and when you mark your center line off of it, then you can measure off 3 inches off each direction to get your 6 inches. We cut them off with a bandsaw, and then you're ready to slide it back together, and that should give you enough room so that you don't bottom the drive line out on the tractor. So this is the twine that these little balers come with. It's more of a actual rope / yarn than it is what you're truly used to seeing in an actual poly baling twine. This works great in the baler. I assume this would be some type of biodegradable type material, so the bales might not store as long with something like this on them. We did just run this little baler with a very common, very easy to buy. This is 9600 170 baling twine. This is an actual poly twine. That will come in 2 bundles. You buy 9,600 feet, and that's 170 pound knot strength twine. That we ran this twine through here. The baler picks it up great, goes right through the chamber, works fine. So there would be absolutely no problem if any of your local tractor dealerships or wherever you buy twine, if you could buy a 9600 170, or if you could get into, like, I believe they even have one of them that's like a 9000 170. Any of those bundles should fit right into the baler, and you should be able to string that in and make bales with them.